Hi, this is QuBites, your bite-sized piece of quantum computing. And welcome back to season 3 after our short summer break. My name is Rene from Valorem Reply, and today we're going to talk about quantum security. And for this one, for episode 1 of season 3, I'm very honored to have a special expert guest today. And this is Ksenia Bogomolets. Hi, Ksenia, and welcome to the show. How are you today?
Hi Renee, I'm fine. Looking forward to talking to you.
Awesome. So, Xenia, you have a super interesting biography. I want to talk a little bit later on, but can you just tell us briefly about yourself and your background as it relates to security and quantum computing?
Yes, very shortly. I originally come from mathematics, and over system development, I got into security and quantum security because I do have a strong background in algorithmic algebra and also linear algebra. So that's the foundations of quantum computing, and yeah.
Yeah, it's all vector algebra, mathematics, linear algebra, all over the place, right?
Yes.
AI, also one of my topics, 3D computer graphics, all of these things where you need linear algebra, right? It describes nature in its best way, I guess. Um, but let's dive into today's topics. I was recently listening to a podcast called She Likes Tech, and you have been a guest on the show, and you talked about your impressive biography. And so, is it correct that you were actually a professional ballet dancer, and then you studied actually math and became a super security expert here? So, can you tell us a little bit about your journey? And by the way, I live in Dresden, right? So I know you also have been working here in Dresden and as a ballet dancer, right? And then you became like you studied math, and but let's tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so almost everything is true which you said. Just you have to get out the word ballet because I was a contemporary dancer.
Ah,
So
sorry. Yeah.
doesn't matter, but the difference is that I was already a freelancer at this time. Yeah. And yeah, I worked in Dresden and it's a lovely town. It was one of the most beautiful times of my life.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And then you studied math a little bit later, and then, like you just said, right, you
Yes.
specialized in algorithmic development and so on.
Right. Yeah. First, I became a mother, and I already knew I wanted to study math because I love math as much as I loved dancing. And as soon as my little boy, then now he's a grown-up man, went to kindergarten, I took the chance and started my math studies.
Nice, very, very good and impressive. Also, since you're a mother, and also the other work you had to do on the side, like the studying on one side and so on. I can imagine it's a tough time, and yeah, very impressive. I'm very impressed by that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then later you founded QuantX Security and Coding GmbH, like we just say in German, right? And so you're a co-founder of that company, and so what are you doing there?
Actually, I'm the only founder.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have three departments, very small. We are a very small company, but the three departments are one, information security as a holistic thing, where we do mostly consulting. And then we do have the department system development, where we have just normal system development, full stack web systems, and so on. And the third one is quantum algorithms and quantum security. Why is it together?
Mhm.
If you want to understand post quantum or quantum security in depth, you need to understand quantum technologies, in specific quantum algorithms as well.
Yeah. And it's a good point, like you're saying, that we need to be aware about the post-quantum cryptography, because in one of the previous QuBites episodes, for example, we talked with Leah Legentgen about the basics of quantum security, and she mentioned like the threat it is for the currently used cryptography our whole internet communication is based on in the end, right?
Mm.
And just recently I saw that IBM is basically predicting they will have a quantum computer with 1000 qubits by the end of 2023.
Yes,
And so
which
this
is
is like
soon.
around 2 years from now, a little bit.
Yes.
And so that is, I mean, if they can, hold up to the promise, that is definitely a near approaching threat for the current
Mm.
security, right?
It is very much, and we also have to consider that migrations in IT always take a long time. We think it's simple, but I mean, I have been working in these banking projects from regulatory perspective in the past years, and sometimes just one simple function to migrate from one technology to another takes years.
Yeah.
And also we need to think of the data collectors, because every all data which is collected now and stored safely will be possible to be decrypted whenever we have quantum computers available. So if you have data now which should remain confidential and integral in the next years, you should start thinking about a migration to post quantum security.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, like the call to action you would say for business leaders right now from your
Right.
end would be like, get going now. Like, think
Yes.
about it now. Don't wait for it to happen because it will happen, and it might happen sooner than later, and actually earlier than most expect.
Exactly. That's a call to action with a preliminary remark. First, make an analysis which things need to be migrated, because some things do not, but some things do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you said, like typically in enterprise companies, you have a large history and a lot of like systems that are quite old, right, and often not
Yes.
touched a lot. I mean, you always hear about COBOL, right, the good
Yeah.
old
Yeah.
programming language COBOL. It's still
Yeah.
being used in some companies for a large extent, and there's, for
Right.
example, not enough COBOL programmers anymore in the world, right, because
Yes.
it's not taught anymore in universities or like wherever schools and so on, right? So this is a
Uh,
big challenge, and let's not have this happen to security, right? So
yes,
like
we don't
get
want
going
that.
now.
Right.
And but there's also opportunities, I think, with quantum computing and quantum communication for security, right? Like um, for example, quantum key distribution and a couple of other things. What is your opinion on that? What is the opportunity here? And maybe you can share some example.
Yes. I mean, quantum communication networks have been established all over the world since many years. DARPA, Tokyo, Swiss government, and so on. I mean, more and more join the circle, if you want to call it like that. Yes, the next challenge will be to have dynamic quantum communication network in the way in the same way our current internet works. So when we have this, we will also need post quantum secure algorithms for partner authentication. That's
Mhm.
something which they start implementing on top now. Then we have both technologies combined, quantum communication and the math based post quantum security. And yeah, yeah, it's cool. We should go for it.
Yes. Yes, and it's important to have our secure communication, and also crypto agility, right, plays quite a role here. That folks have their systems in, or enterprise customers have their systems in such a way that certain cryptography algorithms, or like a cryptography server or something like this, right, that you have like more central places to maintain, and that you have a higher agility to for change adoption in the end, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, a quick being able to have swift changes,
Hmm.
yeah, would be a very good preliminary requirement for any migrations towards post quantum security.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, well, Thank you so much, Xenia. We're already at the end of our short show here
Yeah,
today.
good.
It was very impressive to hear your story, your journey, and the things you're doing, and the important work you're doing to make our internet and the whole communication secure, right, with the consulting you provide. And so, thank you so much for joining us today. This is very much appreciated.
Very much appreciate from my side. Thank you, René.
Yeah. And thanks everyone for joining us for yet another episode of QuBites, your bite-sized piece of quantum computing. Watch our blog and follow our social media channels to hear all about the next episodes of the fresh new season 3. Take care and see you soon. Bye bye.